Hey there, Dave here. This is part two of a two-part road trip from North Carolina to Wyoming. We're traveling in a Model X, running in autopilot almost the entire way, and you get to see it actual in use. Plus you get to see some of the cool scenery when we get to Saratoga, Wyoming. So we're leaving Peculiar, Missouri, heading for Sidney, Nebraska today. Okay, our trip to Sidney, Nebraska today, doing well. The energy looks good at 13%, and we're supposed to arrive in Sidney this afternoon. The weather is predicted to be snowy and rainy up near Lincoln, so we should have an interesting time on the way through all of that stuff a little later. We're in Kansas City now, heading north on 35 here. Okay, we're on Highway 2, headed towards Lincoln. Temperature's dropping. We're going into a front. It looks to me that from looking at the weather that it'll be snowing here in a little bit. Our energy's down to 7. We got 43 miles to go, make that 42. And there's the supercharger, so we're getting there. It's going to be fun when we get into the snow coming up here. Well, the snow's increasing. We're closer to the supercharger now, but we have 9.8 miles to go. It's kind of a county road here, kind of a shortcut backside of the town of Lincoln. But starting to stick on the grass anyway, maybe a little on the road, so we'll see. We'll be careful. It's 33 degrees. All right, the weather's reached 32, and it's snowing pretty good. Sticking. Ground, it appears to be sticking. Flakes are a good size. Everything's covered, but it's okay. I think we're just 2.7 miles from the supercharger. Okay, we've arrived with a whopping 5 miles of range. Okay, here we are in Lincoln, Nebraska in the storm. See if we can find where the stuff is here. Here we go. We are plugged in. We're charging 60 kilowatts. This is normal. It's such a low state of charge. And we'll let it charge for a while. This is Dave. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. So is this storm. I think the superchargers are behind me. As you can see, my car's there on the left, right behind me. And it's blowing up a blizzard here. It's an 8-stall, I think. It's located in a Hy-Vee parking lot. There's a nice eating place inside. Again, this is Dave in Lincoln, Nebraska, freezing my wood off. Oof. I think the supercharger's here. Let's see. Yep, there it is. All right, we're out of here. Got all the snow off everything. All right. We are good to go. All right, we're leaving Lincoln. We've got full range. It's cold.
Now turn left to take the Interstate 80.
Gonna get on the interstate here, and our stops in Gotham, Berg, and we're gonna get on the interstate here. As you can see, it's been a blizzard since we stopped last, and I think it would be good if we just take our time here and get through. Well, on our way to Sidney, interstate's not bad. Snowy, obviously, but it's not too bad. But it's quite the front that came through today. All right, well, I'm headed to Wyoming. As you can see, though, I think it's snowing here. What do you guys think? Yeah, we're doing all right. Tires need a little air because it's gotten really cold. But we've come up with this message now, which says we have to charge soon. But it says 168 on the miles and 237 on the range. Well, we're about at York here in I-70, and we're headed west. Still underneath this stuff, but it should get gone here real soon. You see, it's getting lighter, so I think we're getting into the western side of it. Continuing westbound here, and it's interesting. It says charging needed, but it says 197, and I've got 142 to go, and yet this is complaining. The only thing I could possibly think of is that the fact that the tires are showing a little low and it's confusing the software. Don't know. Okay, I think I figured it out. It appears that the range here is changing by a rate that's almost 2 times the rate that the GPS is telling us here. So I think that's part of the reason why it wants me to stop. I think being 32 degrees, it's telling us that it needs a charge because it's much less efficient. It's probably keeping the battery warm in all of this, and our range has fallen off almost exponentially. This is Dave in Grand Island, Nebraska, sitting here in front of the 8 stall, located right off the interstate, next to a nice gas station. Has a lot of amenities inside. One of them is you show your key fob and you get a free dessert. Again, it's snowing. It's very cold here in Grand Island today. Grand Island, Nebraska. See you down the road. We're set up here. Should arrive with quite a bit of range, and we'll charge up and head to Sydney. And you notice the watt hours here. The watt hours are 522. We're doing 75. I got that. But it also is the fact that we got a headwind we're fighting here, and we've got 41 miles to go. But we're burning a lot of energy here, and therefore the GOM is indicating almost 2 to 1 for the actual miles used for the predicted range, and that's evident by looking here. You can see that the range shows 162, but really we're at about 104. So that's quite a bit. So we're here at Gothenburg, Nebraska. Arrive at 104 miles, and we're up at 104 or so magic time. I think with the cold weather and everything, we used a lot of extra energy. We averaged 480 watt hours, so going into the wind was really rough this time. Dave here, Gothenburg, Nebraska, at the 8 stall supercharger located not too far off the interstate. 8 stalls, easy to get to. It's got a great Comfort Inn right here behind me. And then up the street, there's convenience. There's Pizza Hut and some other places to eat. But I got to tell you, this place is actually quite unique. If you look here behind me, you see that there's actually a windshield washer bucket and a trash can, which is really unique. You don't see this very often at superchargers. So again, Gothenburg, Nebraska, and it's cold. Okay, just leaving Gothenburg, Nebraska, 244 miles. We've got a little bit here to get to Sydney, and on the way. Okay, we arrived in Sidney, Nebraska. Just started to charge, arrived with 24 miles of range, and it was due to the cold and a massive headwind. We used an average of 400 and some kilowatt hours heading into the headwind. This is Dave. I'm in Sidney, Nebraska. And I'm at the 8-stall supercharger here, located in the parking lot of the Best Western behind me, and Place to Eat Perkins. It's cold. It was a long drive today, but it's good to be here. And we're on to Saratoga, Wyoming tomorrow. Again, this is Dave, Sidney, Nebraska. All right, we're on the way to Laramie, Wyoming supercharger. It's cold, tires are a little low, and it's right now showing at 20 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's pretty cold. Going up in elevation, and our stop here will be in Laramie. Get some juice. It's been a good day, 26 miles of range, and it's gotten very cold. Went up over a pass, and now we're in Laramie, Wyoming, and coming up on the supercharger here in about 6 miles, and we've got 7%. And what we did this time is turned on range mode when we left Sidney, Nebraska. And it's helped tremendously. I'll run the numbers and we'll figure out what's going on, but it's certainly there. But as you can see, we're in Laramie, and it's a valley, a lot of snow-covered peaks, and we're going to be going around the mountain on our way to Rawlins, and then south to Saratoga. So that's what's going on today.
Now you have arrived at your destination.
Okay, we're hooked up here in Laramie, Wyoming. Such a low state of charge requires less power from the supercharger, but once it comes up a little bit, we'll see it increase. But it looks like we'll be here for a better part of an hour. This is Dave, Laramie, Wyoming supercharger. It's an 8-stall, looks relatively new. It's in the parking lot of a Fairfield Inn by Marriott, and that also looks very new. Raj Patel, the general manager of this Fairfield Inn and Suites, suggests that all Tesla owners stop while they're charging. Come in, enjoy a little time inside, a cup of coffee and maybe some Wi-Fi, and be able to enjoy your charging time here at the Fairfield Inn. Okay, 274 miles charged up here in Laramie, Wyoming. We're headed back to Saratoga. Headed northwest now on Interstate 80 out of Laramie, heading to Saratoga. Getting up into the mountains. It's cold today. It's all of 30 degrees right now, but it's beautiful out here. Continuing northwest on I-80 here in Wyoming. Yeah, we're in Wyoming still. And if you look real close here, you get to see a bunch of wind chargers along the ridge making electricity. Interstate 130 or Highway 130 in Wyoming, headed to Saratoga, Wyoming. Alright, so here's an autopilot at 30 through Saratoga, and no lights here, just a super wide road, and we're on autopilot, and it seems to be liking it a lot. And no, I don't have my hand on the steering wheel. It's doing pretty well. Kind of knows where the lane is on the left side. As normal in a place like this, a lot of parking on the right, not many cars parked, but here. So that worked very well. City of Saratoga, Wyoming. Set this up to 40. Hey, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode of EV Dave. If you want to see more going forward, click the subscribe button. And if you liked it, you know what to do. Take care until next time. See you then.